I'm really excited to announce another speaker, and this is a gentleman we've been working with for quite a while. Our clients have been super pleased with his work. We've had great success together in helping clients defend their assets. You know, we all work hard for what we've acquired, our properties, maybe a business, other assets, other toys and things that we have, maybe a vacation home, whatever it is, or that bank account or stock portfolio or whatever we have, right? And we want to protect it. We live in a litigious world, as we all know. So we're going to have him talking about that and also talking about the importance of estate planning and how to get all of this stuff done at a very, very reasonable price by a real lawyer. Bob, I'm super excited to have you come and speak at Empowered Investor Live. We can't wait to see you there. Tell us a little bit about the problem and maybe the solution for the asset defense portion of your talk.
Well, you bet. Every one of us has basic potential liability in life. Life is uncertain, and as a result of that, those of us who engage in any degree of commerce, whether we own a business or whether we're customers of a business, we travel, we get in cars, we engage in normal everyday life, that presents situations where lawsuits can arise. We sign contracts on a regular basis, whether you're refinancing a house, you're getting financing, you're buying a car, this, that, and the other thing. Every time you sign a contract, you open yourself to potential liability for breach of contract. We don't think about these things because these are normal risks that we just kind of assume, but we don't have to assume those risks because we can actually protect ourselves from those liabilities. You know, just the notion, let's go through this. You buy a brand new car, you're married, do you put it in both names or do you put it just in one person's name? Or do you put it in the name of an entity, or perhaps a business name for a business that you own? Those are questions oftentimes that we don't think about, but we should be thinking about because we can better protect ourselves than just leaving ourselves exposed as an individual.
You know, Bob, one of the things I heard, or actually I read this just, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it said that the average American will have 7 lawsuits in their lifetime. And I thought I could not believe that. Like the average Joe or Jane, you got to be kidding me. But then I thought it through and I thought, okay, look, business people or people that are gaining some wealth, they become a target. They're going to have some litigation for sure. Okay. That's just the way it works. Right. But the average Joe, 7 lawsuits. And then I thought about things. Look, if people are 60 years of adult life maybe in business or being employed by somebody else or having a rental property or 2 or whatever, or being married. And I started counting and I thought, okay, let's think about this. You get married, and then maybe you get divorced. A divorce is a lawsuit.
Sure
okay,
is.
It's absolutely a lawsuit, and people know they lose a lot of money in divorces. Actually, that's not funny, but it's true. And then if you have kids, maybe your kid gets into trouble, right? Your kid vandalizes something, steals something, gets pregnant. Who knows, right? Kids are out there, they're a liability. Maybe your dog bites somebody. You know, all of this kind of stuff happens. Maybe you got a couple of little small disputes and twice you go to small claims court. Are you counting with me, folks?
Yeah.
7 is easy to accumulate. Maybe you have a job and then you leave that job and your employer sues you. This happens all the time. It's a regular occurrence. Or maybe you own a business and someone leaves you and you have to sue them because they're stealing your customers or your intellectual property. So you counting? Are we at 7 yet? It's pretty easy to get to 7 lawsuits. You can see that, huh?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
And I didn't even mention a car accident.
Right. And that's a possibility, or just owning any asset for that matter causes potential liability. And, you know, there's an old saying in asset protection circles, and that is you want to be rich and look broke. Or another saying would be own nothing and control everything. Because if you own nothing and there's a judgment against you, well, you are judgment proof. There's nothing to take because you don't own anything. Your entities own those assets.
And you know, this is the one area of life where you must do advanced planning.
That's correct.
You cannot do this after the fact. You can't fix this later. you got to do it now before the problem occurs.
Right.
So very important stuff.
You can't buy fire insurance after the fire.
Good point. Absolutely. That nobody's going to give you insurance then. Okay, so the second part of your presentation at Empowered Investor Live is about estate planning, the importance of estate planning. And this is one that most people don't want to think too much about because most people want to continue living, but it's inevitable that you will not. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not in a situation where you have a lot of heirs, right? Even if you're not in a situation where you want to worry about them or they've made it on their own, if you don't plan your estate, the government is going to be in your business. You're not going to have any privacy. The whole world is going to know what you own and what your financial situation was, the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you don't do estate planning. And also, the government's going to take a big chunk out of your net worth when you pass if you don't plan your estate properly. Tell us about this stuff. And not to mention, how about your medical wishes, your medical directive? If you become incapacitated, what should they do? Is the court going to decide, or are you going to decide for yourself?
Yeah. And this is a rough part of life that we don't want to really think about. But, the reality is, if you think you're going to die at some point, you need to plan an estate, just as you said. And you're correct. Not only are we thinking about our loved ones, and the fact is that you don't want to leave a mess for your loved ones to clean up, and a very, very diminished estate to leave to your loved ones, because, the government is going to take a bunch. And if you don't plan the estate, if all you have is a will, you're going to go through probate, which can eat up 5-10% of your total estate, can drag on for years and years and years. Everything becomes public. So people avoid that whole scenario by having, as part of their estate plan, they have a living trust, which avoids probate. But in addition to just a living trust, a complete estate plan includes end-of-life documents. Because as you mentioned, as you touched on, Jason, would you like to be well cared for in your later years? And if the answer is, well, yeah, well, then you want to have what is called a successor trustee. That is a loved one, someone you completely trust with your best interests in mind, to take over when you can no longer handle your financial affairs, when you're not really competent to take care of yourself physically. You would like them then to use the money you've set aside in the estate, in the living trust, for your benefit, for your care and comfort and well-being. And none of us know what's going to happen in our later years. But the reality is, we need to have certain documents in place, such as a living will that expresses your wishes. You want to keep me alive forever on a machine, or just let me go naturally? What about a medical directive? That is a medical directive, but what about a medical power of attorney? In other words, if you can't make decisions for yourself, who would you like to make those medical decisions for you? A trusted loved one, of course. You need to designate that person. A lot of times we assume it's going to be automatic. Well, that's my spouse, so she's going to decide. No. We need to authorize that person with the power to make those decisions. HIPAA waivers. We need to be able to share information, medical information. But if you don't have a waiver in place, that information is restricted. And there are many, many other very, very important end-of-life documents that can become part of a complete estate plan.
Well, this is important stuff, and we're really excited to see you speak at Empowered Investor Live. So we will look forward to seeing you there. And thank you in advance for joining us. Everybody always appreciates your great advice. We will look forward to seeing you at the event.
Likewise, Jason. Thanks.
For those listening, if you don't have your tickets yet, go to empoweredinvestor.com. That's empoweredinvestor.com. We've got a property tour the day before the event, and we've already got 95 people just for the tour portion of the event. 2 big giant buses, luxury coaches. I think maybe they're getting 3 now, I'm not sure. So we've got the property tour of some great Florida investment properties. It's the first day of the event. It's on Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we have the conference all day long. We have some great entertainment planned for Saturday evening. Everybody just has a ton of fun at our events. And they also learn a lot and meet a lot of great people and do a lot of great networking. So we look forward to seeing you there. Again, you can register at empoweredinvestor.com, and we will look forward to seeing you there.